Bebop.
Hey guys, Bebop here with another build guide. Today we're going to be talking about the Demonic Impulse Shadowhunter. With the new Punika Power Pass coming out, getting your character to 1302 item level, and the new Tier 3 Express event, I thought I'd make a video on this class because they are one of the easiest classes to learn and just jump right into, and they're also one of the cheapest to build out, and I'll show you why later in the video. Before we get started, if you like this video, make sure to like and subscribe to the channel. Also hit that alarm bell so you know when I'm releasing new content, and check out my stream on Twitch. You can follow my Twitter for notifications of when I go live. So right now I'm playing a Shadowhunter as an alt. My Shadowhunter is 1470, and the first thing I want to look at here are the stats. The Shadowhunter, Demonic Impulse Shadowhunter, is all about getting into that demon form as fast as possible, because that's where you're going to dish out all of your damage. So when you get into demon form, you're going to get increased crit rate of 30% at level 3. You're also going to get 20% attack speed and movement speed. So that's where you want to be, and in order to get into demon form as fast as possible, you're going to need to stack a lot of specialization. So specialization is not only going to build your specialty meter faster, but it's also going to give you more damage when you're in demon form. You see here at 1576 specialization, my Shadowhunter is dealing 135.27% demon skill damage. And then you can see as well, we're also getting more meter. So your goal with the Shadowhunter is to stack as much specialization as possible, spec on all of your gear, and then only that secondary stat on your neck. For your neck, you can go either crit or swiftness, depending on how you build your character, and we're going to talk about that a little bit here. So my character, I plan on going full salvation. The salvation relic gear gives me increased attack speed and movement speed, so I need to find that crit somewhere else, and where I get that crit is I get that from my neck piece. The other option is to go hallucination. Hallucination is going to give you that crit that you need. So on your neck, instead of running crit, you would run swiftness instead. So the reason I went with salvation is just because it's just going to be a much more consistent set, easier to manage. And, you know, what I'm looking for in an alt is something that's consistent and simple and easy and cheap. Okay, so let's look at the skills. So remember, our main goal is to get our Shadowhunter into that demon form as fast as possible. And ideally, what you want to aim for is to get your specialty meter up to 100% in one rotation of your normal abilities. So in order to do that, we are choosing the normal abilities that give us the most meter gain. The first one we have on the list here is Demon's Grip, and what you'll find is that your purple abilities are the ones that are going to give you, generally, the most meter gain. The tripods I'm running on this are Quick Prep, lowering the cooldown so we can get more attacks in, say if we miss one or the boss moves or something like that. We're running Encroaching Power. Now, Encroaching Power is going to be the most important tripod on all of your normal abilities, because this is going to increase your Shadow Burst meter gain, which is what we're looking for. So this is the thing that makes Shadowhunters really cheap, or one of the things, because the main tripods, and really the only tripods you're after at the very high level, level 5, are these Encroaching Power tripods, because they're going to give you more Shadow Burst meter gain. The third tripod we're running here is Stretching Hand. The next skill we're running is Rising Claw. Rising Claw is our counter. So we're running Naively Honest, which is paralysis immunity, which is great for a counter skill. You don't want to get interrupted when you're doing your counter. We're running Concussion, which is increasing the stagger damage on this. Stagger is all that we're after, because we're not really looking for damage so much on these abilities. These abilities are really for either getting our shadow meter gain or for utility like this counter ability. The next skill we're running is Decimate. The tripods on this are Swift Fingers, Weak Point Detection, and the last one is Cruel Hand. The next ability I'm running is Thrust Impact. Thrust Impact, we run that because it gives us Shadow Burst meter gain again. The tripods I'm running on this are Swift Thrust, Deep Thrust, and of course, Encroaching Power. This is another one we want to get to tripod level 5. The next ability is Demonic Slash. So especially in my build where I'm not running any swiftness, I definitely need something to help me move around, and this ability is perfect for that. So I'm running damage amplification for the utility. It gives some great party synergy and allows your party to do extra damage on the boss for 8 seconds, which is pretty lengthy, especially because This only has a 10-second cooldown. Running nimble movement, so this gives me more move speed. One thing you'll notice not running any swiftness is your Shadowhunter is extremely slow outside of demon form. And we're using chain charge as well, so this gives me 2 charges to this ability. And what's great is I don't have to use them all right away. I'll show you here. I've got a little bit of time before I can use the next one. So it's great to get around, and you can actually change directions between the 2 charges. The next ability I'm running is a fantastic one for building Shadow Burst meter, Howl. So for Howl, I'm running damage amplification. This is again putting that 6% debuff on the target for your whole party. Of course, encroaching power, again, this one tripod level 5, very important. And Mighty Roar. So this is just giving us more AoE radius and some damage, but the AoE radius is extremely important because we want to make sure this hits the boss so we get the shadow meter gain. A lot of your abilities are interruptible, and if you get interrupted, you don't get the Shadow Burst meter, which is not good. So if we can hit this from further away, that's always a good thing. Speaking of that, the next ability we're running is Demon Vision. The Shadowhunter has some decent mid-range abilities, Demon Vision being one of them, Demon's Grip being the other one. For Demon Vision, I'm running the tripods. Consecrated Release, giving us a little bit of extra damage. Encroaching Power, again, at level 5, so we get more Shadow Burst meter. And then we're running Instant Discharge. We're getting this ability off right away. The next ability we're running is Demonic Clone. For Demonic Clone, I'm running the Tripod Vital Point Hit, increasing the crit rate. I'm also running Fist of Destruction, which makes the ability hit 2 times. And then I'm running the Enhanced Release Encroachment, so this is increasing not only the stagger level, but the Shadow Burst meter gain, which again is the main point of running these abilities. And as you can see, the runes that I am running when I'm in normal mode are wealth runes. So I have a blue wealth rune on Demon's Grip, I have a legendary wealth rune on Howl, and I have an epic wealth rune on Demon Vision. And wealth is giving us more specialty meter gain, which again, that's our main objective. So these are your demon form abilities. So with transformation classes, when you go into demon form, you get all new abilities, and this is where we're going to do basically all of our damage. Now let's just talk about the runes that we put on these abilities here. So running Rush, this is a gap closer for us, so we can get to the boss and close those gaps. I'm running a quick recharge rune on this because it has such a low cooldown, and it gives us a chance every time we hit it to lower the cooldowns of our other abilities. The next ability is Deathclaw. This is our counter skill. This one we are running, again, a chance of attack and move speed for 16% for 6 seconds. So this is because this ability also has a very low cooldown at 4 seconds. The next ability is Destruction. This is just another damage ability in the rotation with an 8-second cooldown. Not running any runes on this one. The next ability we're running is Gore Bleeding. This is a great ability for weak point or destruction. It also has stagger on it, and something you'll notice about all of these abilities is they all have some form of stagger on it, which is great. I'm running a Galewind rune on this, which is increasing the casting speed, because the issue with this ability is it does animation lock you for quite some time, which can be very dangerous in certain fights. The next ability we're running is not only a great gap closer, but it is also pretty high damage skill in the kit. It's Leaping Blow. Leaping Blow also adds some destruction, weak point, and on here we're also running a Galewind rune. Again, the animation on this can be fairly long, so we want to increase that skill casting speed with the Galewind rune. And the next ability is the bread and butter of your demon form, Blood Massacre. This is an extremely high damage ability, and really it should be one of the first things you cast when you go into demon form, because you want to try and get as many of these off as possible. And on this one, we're also running the Galewind rune. As is the trend with most of the abilities in demon form, is they do animation lock you. They do have long animations, so the Galewind really helps out. Oh, and it looks like I forgot to put my new legendary Galewind on this ability, which means we can put a purple one on this one. Perfect. Okay, so you have 2 options for your Awakening ability that you want to equip. So one is Gate of Eruption. This one you cast when you're in normal form. It's just a big circle that bubbling explosions under the boss. The big thing about this one is it gives you 100% Shadow Burst meter gain as long as it can completely hit the boss while it's casted, while it's up. Now, the one issue with this is you need to make sure to cast it when the boss is still for a good few seconds, because if they move out of this, you will not get that Shadow Burst meter gain, and you won't get the damage from it. Let's see how this works. So you can see I have 0 Shadow Burst meter. I throw this under the boss. And you can see it has pretty long time that it's up, but once it completes, I have 100% Shadow Burst meter gain. Now, the other awakening ability, Fall in Ruin, can only be cast when you're in demon form, so the exact opposite of Gate of Eruption, and this is to add extra damage while you're in demon form. Okay, so let's equip this and see how it works. So when I'm in demon form, I cast this, and it basically shoots forward, and I do some damage to the boss there. So not bad. Still has a longish cast time. Remember, the boss has to be in front of it to get hit by it, but it will add some extra damage for you. Personally, I prefer to run Gate of Eruption. I did some DPS tests on this, and I really didn't get that much more DPS from using Fall in Ruin. The bulk of my damage is coming from my Demon Form abilities, so I prefer to run Gate of Eruption because it gives me 100% Shadow Burst meter in certain situations where I can't hit the boss. Maybe the boss is doing something like when Valton teleports to the center and you have to hide behind pillars. You can actually cast this ability on Valton when he's standing still in the center, build 100% Shadow Burst meter while doing the mechanic and avoiding that damage by hiding behind the pillars. So this is a great ability to run to get you that Shadow Burst meter at times when you can't really attack the boss. All right. So those are our skills. Let's take a look at engravings. I'm running Grudge, which is probably one of the best, if not the best DPS engraving in the game, giving you 20% multiplicative damage to your character. Demonic Impulse 3, so I'm getting that full benefit, 30% increased crit rate and 20% attack and move speed. Hitmaster, which is an excellent engraving for the Shadowhunter, because in their demonic form, they don't have any back or front attacks, so it's a 16% increase of damage to all those abilities. I'm running Adrenaline 3, so again, I am using the Salvation set, so I need to make up that crit that I'm losing by not going Hallucination, so Adrenaline's ideal for that. Also, you don't have a lot of downtime, so it's pretty easy to keep up that Adrenaline buff. And then again, this is an alt, so I'm not running my full 5x3 engravings. I was able to add an extra one, and Raid Captain is just one of those engravings that's still pretty decent at level 1, so I added that as well. Again, I get that increased move speed when I go into demon form, and that plus the buff that I'm getting from the healers now with their Swamp of Yearning gear gives me a bit of extra damage even with Raid Captain at level 1. Now, if this is something you want to build out even further than what I have, here's what I'd recommend. I would run, instead of that Raid Captain 1, I would replace that with Keen Blunt 3. This is for my build where I'm running Adrenaline. I've got the crit on my neck, so I have the crit rate to benefit from Keen Blunt. The other thing you can do as well is Cursed Doll. Cursed Doll is going to give you a healthy amount of attack power while reducing the amount of healing that you take. However, it does not reduce the amount of health you gain when you go into your demon form. Every time you go into demon form, you're going to get healed a decent amount, and Cursed Doll does not affect that amount at all, so it doesn't give you as much downside as it will other classes. So Cursed Doll is a great engraving to run as well. Now, if you decide to go with a hallucination set and you don't need Adrenaline, you can actually replace it with Raid Captain. Raid Captain is going to give you 45% of your basic move speed bonus percentage as damage, so that's great as well because you'll be running that hallucination set for the crit, and then you'll be running swiftness on your neck. The other thing that makes Shadowhunters very affordable are the gems. So for Shadowhunters, you really only need 2 gems, and that is to increase the damage of your demon skills and decrease the cooldown of your demon skills. Everything on top of this is just icing on top of the cake and definitely not needed and not required. The card set I'm running is the Lost Wind Cliff card set, giving me some more crit. So let's see what a rotation looks like here. So remember, our main goal is to build this Shadow Burst meter to 100 so we can transform into our demon form. So we're going to expend all of our abilities, and our goal is to get this to 100% in one rotation. So if I'm far away from the boss, I can hit him with one of my ranged abilities here, which would be Demon Vision or Demon's Grip. I can utilize Demonic Slash to close the gap and also put a debuff on the boss. Go into my Demonic Clone ability here. Double tap. Okay. Then I can hit my Howl, and you'll notice Howl is a ton of Shadow Burst meter gain. And then I can finish it off with Thrust Impact if I want as well. And here I have my Shadow Burst meter at 100%. So now I transform. If I need to close the gap, I'll start with Leaping Blow. But if not, I will hit Blood Massacre as fast as I can to get that cooldown running, so I can get another one in. And then I'll cycle through the rest of my abilities, peppering in some auto attacks. And this is pretty much it. It's pretty button mashy. And now we're back out of demon form. Our goal is once again to get back into demon form as fast as possible. And rinse and repeat. And there you go. That's Demonic Impulse Shadowhunter. So really quick, I want to give you guys an idea on how to do your tripods, because remember, we really are mainly after the encroaching power tripods on our abilities, the ones that give us more Shadow Burst meter gain. And let me show you how I did mine. So you can buy pieces of gear on the auction house that have those level 4 tripods on them, or you can loot them yourself. And then what you do with those is you transfer those to your inventory. So why you do this is because once you transfer them to your inventory and then transfer them from your inventory to a piece of gear, it's 100% success rate of transferring it to that piece of gear. So my goal here was to get all my level 4 encroaching power tripods onto a separate piece of gear. So I bought a helm, shoulders, chest, pants, gloves, weapon with each of the tripods I needed on it, just the one tripod that I needed, and I transferred it onto my gear. So you can see on my helmet, I have my thrust impact encroaching power. On my chest, I have my demon vision encroaching power, my pants another one, and so on and so forth. And that's going to be an easy way and a fairly cheap way to get those tripods onto your gear. And why it's cheap is because not only is it 100% transfer rate, but if you were buying them off the auction house, you can actually go and sell them back as long as the sale limit on that item has not run out. Alright, so let's see what this looks like in a real gameplay situation. We'll do a quick Descaluda, matchmake it, and here we go. Counter him, and because he's down, I'm just going to hit him with my ult right away. That's going to give me pretty much instant Shadow Burst meter gain, and now I'm in demon form. Demon form, putting my longest abilities on cooldown, also my hardest hitting abilities, so we can potentially get more of them in. And just cycling through the rotation there. Can use the gap closer to get close to him. And now we cast normal abilities to get into demon form again. And rinse and repeat. It's that simple, guys. And one thing you're not going to see, because you cannot see the boss's health bar or stagger bar, but all of our abilities here are doing a decent amount of stagger. One thing to note is when you are going into a stagger check for a boss like, say, on Vaulton, on the Wolves, you want to make sure that you are in your demon form, because that's where you're going to get the most value, the most stagger. So try to be in demon form for those. And we're back in demon form again. Oh, good thing they were there with the counter. And what's nice too, as long as you're not playing like a complete idiot, you don't have to worry about health too much because you gain some... Oh, that was not good. You gain some HP back every time you transform. What I tried to do there was I was trying to walk out of that circle that knocks you back, because when you're in demon form, you actually won't get knocked back by that. You have some great push immunity. But unfortunately, I popped right out of demon form as I was crossing the threshold of that circle, so you saw me get knocked back there. Just me commentating and not paying attention. And we're just kind of mashing buttons here at this point. Yeah, as long as you put your, longest cooldown abilities on cooldown right away, there's really not much else to worry about. Just keep spamming abilities. Get into demon form, spam abilities. Get into normal form, spam abilities. Get a counter here and there. Okay, so yeah, we see we can stand in these. We're not going to get knocked back because we have that push immunity. We can sit there and just wait for the counter. Remember, I've got some ranged abilities here, so I can hit him from far away if we need to. And that's it. So as you can see, guys, it's pretty simple to play. It's pretty simple and cheap to build out. The Demonic Impulse Shadowhunter is a great alt to have, and even a decent main if you're looking to main something that's fun and easy and that can do all of the content competently. So if you guys like the video, don't forget to like and subscribe. Remember, follow me on Twitch, follow me on Twitter. I plan on doing more content, more build guides. I've got a ton of alts that I play, so look for those in the future. But I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I hope you guys enjoy your Demonic Impulse Shadowhunters. We'll see you next time. Thanks.